Yeah. So we're here to talk about why healing isn't about weight, but about wholeness. So if healing isn't about a number on the scale, then what the hell is it about? In this episode, we're here to give you a reminder that you were never broken. And we're going to talk about what wholeness looks like to all of us from our different perspectives. So, hello and welcome back to Not Here to Fix You, the podcast where we call out lives and talk about topics from food, emotion, healing, and everything in between. I'm your co host, Amanda, food freedom and guilt recovery coach, and I help women to eat with less shame and guilt and more freedom. And with me today is my other co host, Laziena, and a special guest, Tasiyah, who also happens to be our editor and the main reason that these podcasts actually, get up on here for you guys. So, Zena, I'm gonna let you do the rest of it. So take it away.
And I'm Laziena. I'm your relationship repair language guide. I help people return to love after conflict. And yes, this is my editor that looks exactly like me. And most of you will know that she is my daughter, who I'm extremely proud of. And I have so many things to say about her, positive things. Got scared for a moment, guys. Tessie and I have our podcast that we do called Breaking the Cycle. So if ever you are, in for some raw and authentic conversation and where we talk about how we are breaking the cycles in our family and we have guests that also share that journey, tune into that. But for now, we are not here to fix you. We are here and not here to shame you. We just want to love you throughout whatever space that you're in. So today's topic I'm really excited about because it really has a lot to do with body image. I think Amanda has a better way of explaining that, and I think that's something that resonate deeply with me. So I'm excited to see where our conversation goes.
Yeah, and I'm very excited about this topic today because Tasiyah and I actually had a conversation when Lazina wasn't around, and
Was it
I
like that?
thought of Tasiyah
Where
for
was
this
I?
episode. No, because we were having a one-on-one call, not because of anything else.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but I was like, when I thought of this topic, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna ask Lucia if she's okay with doing this episode because she generally does not come in front of the camera. But I thought this was the perfect episode because for those of you who are watching, I think at best you could say Lazina and me might be, a little chubby, but you won't believe it from our perspective. But Lucia is actually in a bigger body. So you will totally resonate with her perspective because otherwise it's like, oh, Lazina and I are just talking from, our head or whatever it is. I'm not gonna say any other words, but yeah. So I was excited when Tasiyah was like, yes. She said yes. And she was like, I am so excited because I've always wanted to talk about this topic. So I was like, hello, the universe granted, and here we are. So all right, I'll let the Sia start off because I do think this is a really important topic. So, Sia, without any pressure, give us your perspective on this topic.
Where do I even start? Well, I think I can step in and rescue you there a little bit if you're okay with
Yes, I'm
that.
fine with that.
Um, so, growing up, I've always been considered chunky. Even if I'm 155 pounds or 100 pounds, I still have a bigger body frame. And and growing up in an Indian culture, people will greet you with, wow, you got fat. And then the Guyanese were like, you watch how you get fat. Watch how much weight you put on. Or if you're like, if you get married, right? Oh, you're happy in your marriage. It's like these like little insulting things. The very first thing they look at is your weight. So I just never ever felt like I was okay. When I say okay, like I never felt safe in my body that I am good looking or I love myself. And, I never grew up with those feelings of self appreciation. It was always like, oh, I don't like how I have a double chin. Or as I Or, I've fluctuated in weight a lot, especially in my 20s. So I have a lot of loose skin, and people are always like, "Oh, you can just work out and you'll get rid of that." And all these advice that are just not really conscious of what the person is really feeling. So I think even now, I'm a little self-conscious. You tend to have to call me out sometimes and be like, "Okay, you're not gonna shame yourself now."
Yeah.
If I'm eating something unhealthy, I will, Amanda, I always say, "Oh no, carbs is gonna go straight to my hips and my butt." And while it's okay to be cautious, I'm usually self-shaming or going through my guilt and shame spiral type of thing. And even now, most recently, I put on like about 30 pounds for like I'm not proud of the weight that I put on, but I'm not also shaming myself about it. I know it's in my control. But I still I have this thought in my head that my little fat girl, or like the fat girl in me, I refer to her. And I'm learning to love the little fat girl in me and not make her an identity. But that's something that comes up naturally. Like there was a time when I just didn't like to wear jeans, and because the size wouldn't fit me. And whenever I sit down, sometimes I still envision that that's the size of jeans that I'm wearing, even though I'm not. So I have to like consciously be aware of how I'm talking about my body when I'm talking about it, and the words that I'm using as well. It's not very loving. So like Amanda said, and you've explained that you really you really wanted to talk about this topic, which to me is empowering because not a lot of people want to share what it feels like. So that's kind of where it goes. My thought went.
Yeah. Um, I mean, it's the same thing I sort of experience instead of except in my experience when it comes to like I gained all my weight in my teenage years between 17 to 20, really,
Hmm.
realistically. And that is the hardest transition to go through because I remember being 15 and small and thin, and then going into 19, just having gained almost 150 pounds.
Hmm.
Um, and I now know that the reason why I gained so much weight was because of the trauma that I like literally lived through in my teenage years. And then also being in an unhealthy relationship, I turned to food as a coping mechanism. And then it dissolved into all these eating disorders, but it wasn't really an eating disorder. It was that I wasn't facing what I was actually having issues with. Like now I'm able to process what my food noise means and like what exactly I am I feeling when I go reach for food. But like as far as the experience, I know you've told me I've lost weight. I don't see that I've lost weight.
Hmm.
And like my best friend will tell me I've lost weight, but I don't see it because I still always feel like I'm at my biggest
Hmm.
because I remember what it feels like to be at my biggest.
Yeah.
Um when I go through like weight loss and then I have my clothes that shrink, it's like it's such a great feeling, but then I'm hit with the after effect of like, did I really lose that? Or is it all in my head? Like, it's so much reparenting myself to like really be grateful that I am in my body. I'm able to actually process what's happening to me, how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. Um, so it's a lot to I don't even know what the right word or phrase is because there isn't really a right word or phrase to this, but it's hard work
Hmm.
to really accept yourself. Like to accept myself the way I am took a lot of work and it took a lot of empowerment and a lot of encouragement, but I still do it. So I go through phases where I'm completely insecure and then I go through phases where I'm at my most confident and I think it's just all a wave.
Hmm.
It honors the feelings that comes through because how we live or how I choose to live and how we live is based off of our emotional state.
Yeah. It's a fair point. I think one of the things that I observed about you that I felt was really empowering was you. and this was before you lost weight. You went to your friend's house and you had like a girls' day, and she gave you a bunch of clothes. And they were like crop tops and like, tights. And these are things that you would not wear. You would wear a 4X oversized t-shirt and to like hide everything you just see you're like a wardrobe like it's like what is what is
Mm.
that, but then you started to incorporate color, and you started wearing crop top and you started showing skin, and I was surprised and happy, not in a bad way, but it was like, wow, you really are embracing it. And you did mirror work, also for like 4 hours one
Oh,
time.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that was where I saw all versions of myself when I was at my most skinniest to, like, like, I was at from, like, my youngest age, all that I could remember, and then gradually till I got older, so I saw, like, my entire body, like, morph and change as I was doing mirror work, and that was, like, a really cool experience to, like, really connect with myself with.
Yeah. And there was another time, you were in the back where this is when you were living at the in your old life.
Mhm.
You were in front of the mirror and you were taking photos, and that was the very first time you stepped out of your comfort zone to embrace loving a bigger body.
That's true. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That is true.
Yeah.
I used to be so photo shy, and I still am. Like, I don't like taking full body photos of myself. I'll be sitting there for like 20, 30 minutes, like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm done.
I took a picture of her last night and I sent it to her boyfriend, and look at that. You see that look that I just got?
It was the worst photo possible. I was like, what is this? What am I looking at right now?
He loves her unconditionally.
He does, and I love him. And I like that's also what like in my new phase of life too. I have never been with somebody that's been this body positive, and like
Mhm.
it's been great.
Yeah.
It's a
Does
shame, but yeah.
does that mean, sorry, there's so much that I want to ask
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Um, but like, in the transition of like, okay, there's this shame about my body, and of course I feel like I'm speaking for you because I know you. If this was a completely stranger in the conversation, I'd ask different
Yeah.
questions, but um in experiencing you, you went from, I'm overweight and I'm carrying so much, like you were carrying a lot of heavy emotions, so it showed up in what you were carrying physically.
Mhm.
So once you started to love that part of you, what is your relationship with food dieting now? How do you see food and how do you see your body, as far as when it comes to health? Especially like, you just went to the doctor,
Mhm.
her very first doctor appointment by herself as an adult.
He was an adult, guys.
Sorry, Amanda, if you have any other questions, please ask. Tasiyah and I can ramble all day long.
No, it's nice to I'm what observing you two, and it's like I can see like you both cheerleading for each other because you said like you shared that, oh, I sometimes because you told me like I'm unhealthy eating, and we talked about how you said you weren't comfortable with your weight. But I love that this year. I was like, don't shame yourself. And that's so nice that she said that to you. And like I like how you're sitting there and mirroring back to her all the work she put in, like to feel this comfortable in our body right now. So it's really nice to watch. But for me, I think because Tassia said she put on the weight in her teenagers. For me, I was I think similar to you maybe, Laziena, 'cause I was a chunky kid. Yeah. I carried all the weight in my stomach. We call it a pot belly. At least, in this family, it's called a pot belly. So I was like, oh, you're a girl. How could you have that? Like, I had a lot of focus on my tummy because it used to come out. And it wasn't like I was eating a lot. I just don't know why I had that pot belly. And then like I had like, I was a chubby baby. So I think I was just round all over. When Lazina was telling me to do inner child work, part of it was I had to look at photos of younger me, right? To like connect with that little girl. And I did that, and there were some really nice photos, and like I had some really cute memories of, oh, like I can remember myself at that age. But then there were some pictures which I can understand when this year was like horrified when you took that because I was like, I saw the picture of that little me with that big stomach and I was horrified looking at me. And I was like, no, no, that was still my body. I may not have been comfortable in it at the time when I'm looking at it now. But that little girl in that photo, she doesn't know. She's smiling. She's happy. It's me, adult me, who's judging her and like looking at her stomach. Because, when you grow up with these messages, that's what you learn. And kids don't really, I think, have problems with body image. I think especially at our time, it wasn't so much of a problem. Now with social media and the next generations coming, I feel like body image issues start at around 6, I think I read, for girls. So it's really early. And I think if I could think of my body image issues, it cropped up around 12 and 13. And we didn't have social media back then. So I only saw the TV and I didn't have to do much comparing. But now today, like you see all these bodies and you're like, okay, I'm not good enough. This person, and it's also bad when people come on social media and say things like skinny is the only thing you should be, and like, you don't love yourself enough because you're not skinny. I really hate that one. Like, what does that even mean? So if you're not skinny, you don't love yourself. That's ridiculous. But I like to say that I think I experienced the same things that Laziena did growing up in the Indian culture because the focus is always on your body image. But then for me, it was also on weight. It was like you can't be, over a certain number. There was a lot of talk of BMI, body mass index, which is now, as research has shown, is complete and utter BS. So I think overall, for me, when I think of healing, I think of letting go of all these parts of ourselves that we just didn't, care to acknowledge at the time. But I think it's also about, for me, health has become like when I think of wholeness, I think of the whole module. And I think I might have shared this with Laziena, I'm not sure. But before, I used to look at health as a triangle, right? So I would think the physical aspect was the most important. So with the triangle, the base is the physical, and then I would like, oh, the mental and the emotional is somewhere at the top and not give it too much importance.
Right.
But ever since I flipped that dynamic, I realized it's so much more important to be emotionally stable and mentally fit. And like the physical is the least important aspect because someone's weight doesn't actually give you an entire picture of their health. I think we proved that over and over again in science that it is not like, oh, you are a certain weight and so you're unhealthy. There's so many other factors. Like I'm in a not a big body, but I can't do so many things that my friends in bigger bodies do. Like
Yeah.
I went one time hiking, and from that experience I discovered I am no good at hiking, but I also discovered that this person who was 2 times my size got up that mountain quicker than I did. And I was like, damn, that was like a perspective for me that, being a certain weight and in a certain body is not all that is. So yeah, that's pretty much been my experience. But I really love that I've never actually heard, in the time I've known Tasiyah and we've got to be friends. What has it been, a year now since I've known Tasiyah?
I think so,
I
yeah.
think so. But yeah, we've become pretty good friends. But I've never heard her say anything bad about her body, which is so refreshing and so nice because I know people in bigger bodies. I've known them and they say bad things about themselves. And it hurts my heart when they say that because I don't see that when I look at them. Like that's the last thing I see. I see them as a person. I admire their personalities or whatever other attributes that made me want to hang out with them in the first place. But the weight's the last thing I see, but it's so heartbreaking when they, constantly tell me, oh, yeah, I'm fat. And okay, I get it as a fact. But some of them even went to the point that when we are in photographs, they generally push the
Yeah.
thinner people in the front because they're trying to hide parts of
Yes.
themselves.
I
Oh,
relate.
don't do that. That's so sad. Don't do that. Like, I understand, but like, there's always so many flattering poses you can do. I think it's just about learning how to. And maybe the mirror work can also, in a way, teach you how to like love your body in a way. I've never personally done mirror work, but I heard it's really good. So that's
I'll
just
get
my
you there
perspective.
one day.
Yeah, oh yeah, you have to for sure. But yeah, okay. That's pretty much what I wanted to say, but I wanted to hear more about um what is your secret, Tasiyah? Have you I know you said that initially you used to think badly of yourself, but now you've reached a point where you don't, and you even tell your mom not to shame herself. So what's the secret to like being so comfortable and loving your body as is?
Um, Honestly, inner child work and inner
Uh,
teenage like shadow work. If I had not learned the concept of self-love, I would not be able to look at myself the way that I look at myself now. Um, and I wanted to like point out too, because you had mentioned when you were with your like plus size friends or like, you know, your bigger friends, they're able to do more like physical work or like what you were saying.
Yeah,
They were
yeah, this
like,
one's a man
yeah,
around here.
I am a man and a
Yeah.
woman. Um, but, like, it's so funny because, like, I used to think I was never gonna run in my life. Like, I don't
right.
like running as it is, but I still push myself to. And, like,
Mhm.
even at work, there's times when, like, one of my clients or my patients is, like, screaming across the house, and I'm thinking, like, it's an emergency, so I, like, take off and I run. And there was a comment that one of my clients, like, moms made, and she was like, "Oh, you can, like you're pretty fast for the size you are." And I was like, "What? I'm not even thinking that." And it never crossed my mind, and then it was like there was where we had to bring the dryer down the stairs,
Oh my god.
and I didn't think I was gonna do it, but I did it.
Yeah.
Um, but there's also, like, the mindset of, like, understanding where my strength is coming from. Is it coming from, like, my stubbornness, or is it coming from, like, my actual body? And when I was doing massage therapy for a while, we learn the anatomy of our body and the limit of how we can actually, like, use our body in the space that we're in.
Mhm.
So, I kinda use body mechanics and body work to understand how athletic I am when I am working out. So, I can push myself to not like, 1, not feel like my weight is holding me back, but to use my weight against what I'm, like, actually exercising and working out. So, when I, like, really paid attention to, like, how I was, like, harvesting my own energy and how I was utilizing it, it made the concept of self-love easier because, like,
Mhm.
as I was working out and as I was losing weight at the same time, I was able to understand the more that my body was able to actually, like, do. And even now when I have my limitations, because everybody's gonna have its limitations, it's no longer like, "Oh, my weight is the limitation." It's like, I haven't gotten there yet. Um, I am still recovering from a cold, so I sound nasally and coughing. So I apologize for the viewers listening. Um,
I'm sure they'll give you grace
Thank you. Thank you.
because
Yes,
you're my
and she's
daughter
yours. So
or
yeah.
because you're
And also
really
she took yeah, she took the time out to come on this episode. So for sure they're gonna give you grace.
I
I
forgot what the question because there was a few questions you
I
threw
know,
at me,
yeah.
and then Amanda, you threw some questions at me, so my brain's not retaining all the
No, no,
questions
it's
right now.
okay. It's fine. Like I was thinking about how, when it comes to being a bit in bigger bodies or body image and things like that, we how we can see the limitations within ourselves without truly observing from an outside perspective. So sometimes the criticism that I've heard is oh, so you're just gonna promote people to be unhealthy. Like when somebody is embracing their big body, is also you're just promoting them to be unhealthy. And my take on that and is that it's not promoting them to be unhealthy, is encouraging them to be who they are because health is overall. If
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
not, if Tasia didn't do the work to become emotionally present with herself, she wouldn't, she probably not, I don't want to say this is what she would have done, but she probably would have been lost in that
Oh,
self-image
100%.
thing. And now, like, and one of the things I would like for you to touch on is your doctor visit and how that was like, right? But I just to touch on her, like, she is so strong. Like, This girl, I always tell her like it's gonna be hard for me to find a husband because to see is to like she'll do everything. Like we literally had it's a upstairs and a downstairs, and the dryer is upstairs, so we had to bring it downstairs, and it's me and her, and this girl is like lifting, and she knows how to like stack her body so she's lifting properly,
Yeah.
and I'm like I don't
She was
pay.
panicking.
And there was a time we had to change the tire, and it was hard. This girl, our neighbor called AAA to see I had the car tire done, and changed and plugged and everything before AAA could even get here. When they got here, all they had to do was screw it back on. So it's like I'm amazed by her strength, like to get that wrench or whatever that thing, that tool, oh my goodness, that
Yeah.
required a machine, but she
Mhm.
did it. So I'm amazed at the strength that she has. And, I always think that when I was that weight, I saw myself as limited. And it took me losing weight to see that I wasn't limited. So I approach it from the unhealthy, shaming, I'm not good enough perspective, where I felt like you came into us understanding that your body is magic and you can do something about it. So I feel like I covered on a lot there, but
Yeah.
please could.
To
Yeah.
to touch up on the doctor's
Hmm.
appointment thing too. I remember the last time I like actually remember being to like a doctor, like for real, instead of an emergency room visit. I was like 16, 17. And I remember that my heart rate was at like 115. We couldn't get it to go down. And for anybody who's into the health world or into like the metrics of it, it's supposed to be 100 and below. The like the minimum 50s, 50s, 60s. Like if you're in your 50s, you got something to worry about. But like my heart rate was always high. My blood pressure was always high. And when I think about it back then, I was downing like maybe 10 monsters a day, 10 energy drinks a day, and countless caffeine. So as I got older, I realized I had like a caffeine addiction. And then not only was it caffeine addiction, it was always like I was always under so much stress. So as I was able to
Survival
like
mode.
straight up survive mode, when I went to the doctor, my blood pressure was like perfect. My like my pulse was like in the 80s, and like even the doctor herself, she was like your vitals are great for the body shape you're in. And I was like, because I am actually healthy. Like I've worked so much on my body and like my eating habits and what I eat. Like yeah, we'll go for carbs, but like everybody still needs some sort of carb. Like anything we eat turns into nutrients, so that I now when I process how I eat, it's always what nutrients am I filling in my body and how is it going to be used. Instead of like like, if I'm eating something that's, like, completely unhealthy, I know it's, like, I have a sweet tooth or I have a craving, but anything else in the in between, it's, like, I go for a salad, I go for chicken, whatever it is. But when I was at my doctor's office, she was asking me all these, like, previous medical history questions from, like, all the years I went to an emergency room, and anytime I went to the emergency room or anytime I got sick before I you know,
Hmm.
before I came back to reality,
Hmm.
um it was a lesson. Like, I got sick because I was overworking. I got sick because I put myself in high, like, whatever word I'm looking for, situations. And I've always done healthcare. I've always been a caregiver or, like, a nurse. Not a nurse exactly, but a CNA. I do CNA work. Um so being around people who are already sick while it's the time period of me overworking myself, it was a message of like, okay, you need to calm down. There was years, like I think it was like 5 years in a row, I had gotten pneumonia almost every year, and it was always on my birthday. And it annoyed me. It was always on my birthday,
Yeah.
but every year was to show me like you are overworking your body to the point where you cannot enjoy the days that you do have.
Yeah. Now that I have a better understanding of how our nervous system works, and there's I keep referencing this book, The Body Keeps the Score,
Mhm.
and I never remember the author. It's so sad. I'm an author myself. I would hate for somebody to not remember who I am, so apologize, author. Um, but it's incredible when we look back, because all of that time when Tasia was at her unhealthiest was the time that she was deep in her trauma, and she hadn't really even been able to get to the awareness that this is like to name that this is trauma, to even heal it, or to begin the healing process of the trauma.
The book.
Bessel van der Colt.
If we mispronounced your name, I'm so sorry.
I doubt that they're gonna, well, maybe they will listen to
Wait,
our
don't
pod.
doubt it.
You're right. We're
Sorry.
manifesting here.
Yeah.
Yeah. um
As a
like, it's very important for us to have the awareness in our mind, right? Connected to our heart. And this is by connecting it to our heart, that's healing it, giving it humanity, understanding that this is because of a reason, right? And then we have to energetically also process it out of our body. So sometimes if I'm sick and I need to purge and I need to throw up, or like I have like food poisoning or whatever. I'm saying food poison symptoms, right? Is because there's something about me. Maybe I'm disgusted by something, or like my shoulder is always hurting, is because of my having too much responsibility. That's when I start noticing that happens. Or if I'm not feeling supported, my tailbone will be like, ma'am, we're gonna need you to sit down and take care of yourself for a little bit, pour back into you so that you can give out. And that is part of being healthy. It doesn't mean that I'm running and I'm walking, not that that's like I need to.
It's
Accountability.
physical health is equally important.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't be so I forgot what the saying is, but it's like people who are always in the gym are either running from something or they're not facing something. But
Mm,
then there's also the other side of it where it's like everyone's on their journey on themselves. So if you're
mhm.
in the gym,
At least you're in
there's
the
a
gym.
reason for why you're in the gym and
Mm,
there's something that
Yeah.
you're facing or there's something that you're healing from.
mhm.
And like that's the one thing that like when I was an avid gym goer, because now I'm like kind of slacking on it. But it was so cool seeing all these people of different bodies, like literally doing their best. They
Mm.
go in, you see the same people that are working as hard as ever, and like you get to see their little wins. So I think by also me watching other people, because you're not really supposed to people watch, but I people watch just to understand
I
like
can't go to the gym. I will people watch. People are in sweatpants there.
we're gonna keep this PG
Oh,
because I don't know
sorry.
where
Yeah.
this is going. Um
Sorry. Not sorry.
anyways.
It's fun being single.
Guys, help me. Help
I
me.
think Tasiyah lost her train of thought now. She was like, I had a really good
This is
point.
our this is our life. I apologize.
But it was really cool watching people overcome
Mm.
their own limitations. Cause like even for me, when I was like scared, I'm like, I'm never gonna run in the gym. And then all of a sudden I was started running in the gym and it was cool. Like it was a really cool experience. And even my brother's like, you should start running. We should go on runs together. And I'm like, I don't want to go on runs with you. But like it's an opportunity where we get to connect. And for him, he enjoys running, but it's because his mind is always thinking. So
Mhm.
if I do go on runs with him, it's an opportunity to understand his brain and understand like
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But
But the gym when you were saying about that, I kind of remember. I mean, you made a lot. Like, I want to touch on stuff that you both said, but I'll start with the gym. So, um, at when I was, just to make this brief, I was studying in another country for a while, and then I came back to India. And I mean, I was the first time away from my family, so I was like feeling very homesick and lonesome. And things were like very strange in this country. Like people were nice, but I miss the warmth of India. If you're Indian, you'll understand what I mean. If you're not, can't help you with that. But yeah, I kind of miss the warmth. And I think I was doing a lot of emotional eating. So I came back and I was like, yeah, I was in my early 20s and like my stomach was out, right? And I was at the airport, and my mom and my brother came to get me. And this is why this was so embarrassing, because I was standing right there. And I'm like, why are these guys coming at me or helping me with the bag? And later on, my mom told me that my brother didn't recognize me. And just for the record, I had only gained 5 kilos, but I was apparently unrecognized. So I was like, and this was when I was living in my unhealthy space of, weight is everything. But then when I heard that comment, this message was kind of reinforced, like, wow, now I literally said, wow, you just let yourself go. You're such a fatty. Like, those are the actual words I said to myself. And I was like, you know what? This is not done. So when I went back, I got the opportunity to join a gym. Excuse me. But the first day I went to the gym, I didn't get a nutritionist, and she told me how to, like, eat right. And that was, I think, the beginning of me getting into this field also, because she was very nice and she didn't shame me or my body. She was just like, hey, when you guys come here, the food's a little more richer. So, you got to be a little careful of your portions and stuff like that. But the first day I remember after I did that workout, I was sore. I came home sore. I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to go. But then I did. I was like, no, I'm not giving up. I want to get rid of this, 5 kilos, because I didn't like the fact that people said I'm unrecognizable just
Yeah.
for five. And I was like, I don't think I am. But then I was like, oh, someone said that. Now I feel like I am. So I went back and I went back and I got really good at the gym. I became a gym rat. And physically, I wanted to say this. Physically, I was like, people were like, oh my God, girl, you look so good. What are you doing? You working out? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to the gym. So I lost weight. People noticed. My self confidence was back. I was feeling good and validated. But I can tell you that was the lowest point in my life, because mentally I was burnt out. Emotionally, I was in the toilet. Like, so that's the thing. I just looked healthy. I looked it, right? But I was so unhealthy. Because again, that's when I learned that the emotional and the mental aspect is equally important. Looking back, that was the lesson that I needed to learn. But back then, I didn't quite realize it. I just couldn't understand why everyone was saying I looked healthy, but I wasn't really feeling it, and I couldn't understand it till um, years down the line. And now that's what I help women do. But when Tasiyah brought up the gym, I was like, I have to say this, because a lot of people who go to the gym, they look really good, but they are so miserable. Like,
Mhm.
there's this one bodybuilder, like, I follow him on Instagram. Like, I can't remember his full name, Ben something, but he talks about how uh he went into professional bodybuilding, right? And he was like, it was the worst time in my life, because they have like a very strict diet to follow. And he was like, I would tell my sister that I am just so hungry all the time, because he was literally eating so little just to look so ripped. But that was not, he said he wasn't feeling healthy mentally, which is the same experience I had. Mentally, I was not feeling great. And then he was like, I was like, hyper focusing on controlling my food, but I was always starving. I was so happy when I got to eat. But even after eating, I just never felt satisfied. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what dieting and diet culture tells us. They're like, eat this much, and that's all you're going to get. But when the CS at the gym and the doctor's visit, so for the doctor's visit, I like that she was like a bit shocked, because she was like, oh, your vitals are good for this body shape. Sounded like she was shocked. I don't know, sounded. But I do want to say for people out there, because I do know that some people might not be comfortable with their weight, but just want to touch on that if you go for a doctor's visit and you're not comfortable knowing your weight, you don't actually need to know it. Just tell the doctor to weigh you, but tell them that you don't want to know your weight. That's totally okay. It's kind of standard for doctors to like take your weight, but again, it has nothing to do with your health. But I think for the sake of their report, they have to like write it down. So
Mhm.
if you step on the scale, you can either look away or you can step on the scale backwards. That way they can get your weight and you don't have to know anything about it, especially if you're hyper focused on weight. But I just wanted to touch on that point, because I know a lot of people feel bad about their weight, especially when they go to the doctors, because they're like, I don't want to go to the doctors because most of the time I have to step on the scale and then I feel even worse than I already.
Yeah, I relate to that heavily. Yeah.
I know, right? When especially when you're like a little chunky and you're like, oh no, I'm so embarrassed. And then they're gonna look up my, back then they were looking up BMI and they were telling me I'm like, overweight. And I was like, I don't like this experience. But
Yeah.
now I was like, oh, let me tell people out there they don't actually need to know the weight.
Yeah.
The doctor needs to know it, but you can tell your doctor you don't want to hear the figure and they
Yeah.
need to respect that. And if they don't, please change your doctor.
Yeah.
Um, but the carb thing, right? I like that you said that people are like overly obsessed with carbohydrates and they think if you eat carbs, you're promoting obesity and like, just letting people then let themselves go. I actually, so this happened long ago. I forgot this incident till Laziena talked about carbs and, weight. But I actually had a guy fight with me in a comment section online once because he was like, you're promoting people to eat carbs. And I was like, of course, our body runs on, you need at least 50 to 55% carbs
Yeah.
because your body runs on energy and carbs is a source of energy. Of course, you're going to have to eat carbs. I'm not saying eat only carbs.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, look at you. You're promoting obesity. And I was like, I eat carbs. Do I look obese for you? Like,
Yeah.
what's the deal with this? But it's ridiculous, okay? Please eat a balanced diet. Please eat your carbs, your proteins, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Please do not demonize any one food group because that is the start of every eating disorder out there. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on that. But yeah, I think Tasia might have recalled what she wanted to say by now.
No.
And Lazina had something to say too, because I
I
felt like she
do.
wanted to.
Oh
Okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
I do. I was thinking about the whole that gym thing. And when you were saying that how you got sore and you don't want to go, I feel like one of my biggest resistance is that you go to the gym and you start working out, and then the next day it's so sore. And then I want 3 days now to recover because everything hurts. I can't go up the stairs. I can't even sit down or stand up.
I actually
And
found the hack to that,
you
but
did?
yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so she
No,
found the
go
hack.
ahead.
So I wanna, yeah. So like my resistances when it comes to gym is absolutely ridiculous. It has no bearing on anything. So anybody listening to this, and you go to the gym, judge me. I mean, don't judge me, don't shame me, but know that I am not someone to speak about going to the gym because I'm very resistant to it. I don't like working out in public and stuff like that, but I think I'm gonna be more open to that now. I'm not really in that space where I'm self-judging. So that's where a lot of where it came from because as I'm in this phase of my life, I felt like I've gotten the awareness and I've rewired my thoughts and I'm present with my thoughts. So even if they are unhealthy, I'm recognizing that they're unhealthy and I can change my thought at any time and or see what it needs, right? Because for me, that's the lens that I look at the world and what does
Mm.
this need? Like any given situation, what is the need here? So and then I'm healing my heart, healing the wounds that cause those negative thoughts, and by healing them they feel good. So I feel at peace and whole in my heart and my mind. I feel like I'm aligned with my thoughts and my desires. And what I've noticed a lot of on TikTok especially, there's a lot of men who are on, and my algorithm just loves to love me, so it shows me a lot of men who are working out at the gym. And and then you'll see like a little caption, and they're going through a heartbreak, or they're really trying their best, like they felt betrayed. They gave their all. So a woman didn't show up for them, or whatever the case is. Like we all have had those experiences. We have to have those experiences to really even understand the depth of our love, right? But I'm realizing, that's I can use the gym as a way to learn how to regulate my body too. So um it's to be intentional with I'm working out, I may be working out this muscle, but truly I'm working out my heart too. I am able to connect my mind, body, and my my mind, body, and soul in one in doing this act. And that can come from love, right? So
Yeah.
I guess I'm sure that I think you use the term gym brats, and there are people who are working out to look good or to whatever everybody's situation is, right? But we can change that. I'm noticing a change in that as well, that people are doing it more for the healing aspect of it. It's like, going to yoga every day or he's seeing a therapist, whatever muscle, um, not
You
the
need to work
physical,
on
yeah,
work
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think,
but
and I, mhm, go
no, continue.
Oh, no,
I
I was
want to
just
say I want Tasiyah to share the hack because there might be
oh,
people like you
oh,
out there like,
yeah.
oh, so I'm not gonna
Yeah, I
go
wanna know
because
that hack because holy Moses, my thighs and I don't and as much as I like the ab feeling, because it's like, "Ooh, I'm strong," because like, I gave birth and like, mm, but, oh, I don't like the
So
pain.
you're actually not supposed to feel sore after a workout. If you feel sore, it's because your body's lacking nutrients and protein. So not to shame
I'm
or
kidding, I'm being dramatic, I know. But isn't it crazy? It's not to
yeah.
cut you up, but isn't it crazy how shame comes in, like, almost
Mhm.
immediately? You have to be so present with those thoughts because if I wasn't present, I would make a joke out of it, but really I would be feeling bad,
Mhm.
so
yeah,
And like your body will feel sore in like the first month of you working out because it's like your body's like, okay, we're actually working muscles we don't
yeah,
intentionally work. Um, but then like once you get like a regimen of like what body you want or like the body you envision for yourself,
yeah.
it's about like maximizing of the nutrients. So like for me, I was always doing a high protein, low carb, low sugar because my body mainly needed protein to get me through my
mhm,
day. And a little tiny bit of carbs, a little tiny bit of fiber so that way it actually like moves through and you can take healthy
mm,
poops, guys. Healthy poops matter. As a
yeah,
caregiver and as a health nut, healthy poops matter. And if you're
Um,
not pooping regularly, you might have a problem. Um,
yeah,
but
mhm,
aside from that, it was definitely like I noticed that the days where I had high protein and I was hydrated,
yeah.
I wasn't as sore afterward. And if you are sore, your muscle might not be sore. It's like the way you're doing your workout. So like
mm,
your stance, your body, how you stack your body, how you utilize your body when you work out is really important so that way you don't strain yourself and you don't hurt yourself.
Mhm.
But I'm also not like I'm not a coach and
Yeah.
I'm not a
yeah,
a
You're a masseuse though. Man, this girl is good. Oh, and you know what I love about her massaging too is that she really connects with the emotion of what the day is. Someone wants a massage, it's like, oh, well, how are you feeling? And then going through from there and tending to the body. It's like it's her gift. She's good at
I
that.
love emotional work.
Hmm.
The
yeah.
body's
I've heard a lot about her famous massages, and I'm kind of envious I haven't gotten one yet. But
have a massage table, so you can
Yes,
visit.
and whatever
yeah,
you're
when I visit for sure, I'm gonna make sure this year knows the date, time, and everything. Sorry.
She's gonna come to pick you up at the airport with her massage table. You're gonna be at the luggage carrier, luggage pickup, and you're gonna be on the massage table. Hey, that's
Don't
good.
tell me. I might just drop the bag, like
Think about
take me straight to the car.
They need a masseuse in the airports too.
they usually have a little standoff station, like,
Oh,
but
oh, so that's
I don't
not
know if
revolutionary.
I feel like that would be like, illegal in some aspect or something.
Maybe, but you know what? Tampa Airport, and I saw this on their website that they're opening up back where you can go into the airport if you don't have a flight, and like yeah.
Does that mean when my boyfriend comes, I could actually go with him
To a certain
to
Right.
part,
certain
yeah.
parts? Yeah,
I think you might have to pay a fee though, but I'm
that's
not
fine.
sure. Yeah.
Anyways,
Okay, yes, yeah.
Where we went a segue into, you can get a massage at the airport. So if anyone wants to know that information,
Yeah,
thanks to
I'm
they're
not
Laziena, it's out
expensive,
there.
but
Yeah. But no, I think so from my experience, the first day I went to the gym, I was really sore. And then I was for the second and third day, but I will tell you, Laziena got better. Like,
yeah,
in fact, it got so good that after a while, after going,
yeah,
it was the day I didn't go. That's when I was like, oh my God, my body's hurting. It's because I wasn't going. And
yeah,
then, but you do need, I am not a fitness trainer, but just for general information, you definitely need a day for your muscles to rest. So if anyone's trying to go to the gym, please take a day off at least. And like Tasiyah said, definitely make sure you're getting your form and all right if you are going to go to the gym. Please get a trainer for the initial period so that you know exactly what you're doing. Because the last thing you want to do is, have bad form and pull something and then end up saying, I'm never going back to the gym again. For people
But
who
even
are interested in
so,
the gym.
still go. Even if you don't have a trainer, if you don't have anything like that, still go because you are your own trainer.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was like, no
That's
matter
okay.
what,
That's
still
okay.
go, still do it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Even if you
go
don't
but
push
be
or whatever.
go but be safe. Like I mean that's all I say. Like I really don't want I because in India I have seen some people not know how to use gyms and that they touch machines and I'm like, please be careful. I don't know if that's gonna fall on you or you're gonna be
I
crushed.
watched this one girl
That's
one
me.
time.
Like,
You know, like the cable X, the cable machines where
yeah.
so she had it wrapped around her ankle and she was really small and she put the weight like I could tell it was like a really, really heavy and she ended up like her leg ended up being lifted into the air and she was like kind of dangling upside down for like a good few
God.
minutes. Like, not a good few minutes. I was on, Stairmaster, so it wasn't like I could just, like, hop off and I could see, like, she was with somebody else, but the guy's free facial reaction, they couldn't stop laughing, and she was like
That'd be mortified. I'll be like, oh.
Yeah.
also, I wish that could happen to me. Imagine, like, me just, like I don't have a like, I have a weight that's too high for me, and I'm straining myself versus, like, if it's too high, you gotta, like, imagine you're being floating o like, you're floating off, and it's kinda funny, it's kinda cool.
It is funny. I do like the gym memes and stuff. They're fun. They really are. But again, I'm not somebody that frequents the gym yet. So, I used to. When I was younger, I went. Oh my gosh, yeah. You were a baby. I used to take Tasiyah
You
to
were
the.
a health nut back then, which is
Yeah,
crazy. You were a gym rat at one point.
yeah, and 2 years
Wow.
ago,
Oh wow.
yeah.
I didn't even expect that.
Okay. This is like a whole story, but like it doesn't matter because it happened like years ago. But I got kicked out of one of the gyms because like I had a habit of biting people I didn't like. And so, yeah,
Yeah,
some kid messed with me and I don't know who you are. And I'm sorry. I think you were a guy. I'm so sorry if it was, but I did bite you on the shoulder and I apologize for that. I don't know what came over me, but something about me didn't like you when I was younger, and I'm so sorry. But now you might be a good person. So if
maybe he was
somehow
a person then too,
maybe you were
Sissy.
a good person then too, and I was the problem. Either way, I am open for a reparative conversation that doesn't involve biting.
Yeah, I
It
used
doesn't
to
involve biting.
in my 20s, I went to the gym a lot. After I had Tasia, I was about 240 something pounds, and I just didn't like how I looked, and I went on this extreme keto diet, and went down to 135 pounds. And it was great, but I wasn't, even I had no knowledge of what I know now, so it was easy to put back the weight on. But my brother and I, we would be doing Taibo, Zumba.
When I
I
was
mean,
in Zumba
yeah,
days,
yeah. I bought the CD of the dance of the thing, and
we had so many. It wasn't even just one.
yeah.
Like
And I was always active. The only time I became inactive was I think the past 2 years because I felt like and that's because of heartbreak. Like the first year I I went walking every day and that's when I started Pokemoning and everything. Like I was just out walking for hours and hours and hours because it was the only way I could be present with like my breathing. Like I was in so much that was such chaos. Like I was devastated and I didn't know what else to do. So the only thing I could do was walk and it became heavy and heavy and heavy and then eventually I started to get into other things and the walking just like stopped and then I also had like a little bit of give up energy because it was like I don't like that it was really heartbreaking what happened so um I needed to take time for that so now I feel like there's more of a push and I always say oh I want to do better I want to do better and a lot of people who I've said those words to are always like, well, you're saying you can do better, but you're not doing it. And it's an accountability, but I also, like gentle accountability too.
Yeah, I think
Like,
when it comes to that too, because like I relate in the aspect of like been slacking off with working out, and like my boyfriend right now has a better regimen than I do, which is crazy, as I was the one that had the better regimen
yeah,
before.
you were, oh my God, this girl will be at like 11 o'clock at the gym. Like,
I used to spend
what?
so like I used to go after work like 5 days a week, and then I had my weekends off from the gym. But like when I was going, like, I was facing what I was feeling, but I was definitely using the gym as a coping mechanism because I was in there for 2 hours at
Hmm.
most nights. Um, but that was also to deal with the emotions that I was facing. Like, I would go in and if I had a terrible day and I wanted to punch somebody, it was a leg day. It was a leg and a core day, and I remember, like, I would be like, "I have to walk up the stairs. I don't wanna walk up the stairs, guys, it hurts." And, like, but the point of it all, what was my point? What was I saying before I
Being
started
having a gym regimen that you s-
before the gym
you
regimen?
slacked off on going to the gym.
Yeah, I slacked off, and, like, now I still beat myself up about it. Like, I
Yeah.
should be doing it. I should be working out. And then when I do work out, I'm like, I don't have the same energy I used to when I was doing it. So it's a work in progress. And like when you take a break from working out, it's more of your brain that's needing the break more than anything else. So when you get
Yeah.
back into it, it's like a
Yeah, like more from joy. And the
Mhm.
thing is too, like maybe some people workouts aren't gym. Maybe it's kayaking or biking or
Yeah.
hiking. Maybe they like to be in nature or something. I feel like mine would be more in nature. Like that and and it's more grounded now, more connecting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and I
Um,
find it's so interesting how the thoughts still come up, right? Like it's being present with them that
Mhm.
I'm resistant to going to the gym, but that doesn't mean that the gym is a bad place. It just means that I can look and see what works for me. Everybody's different.
yeah.
And that's what I love too, is we're all different.
Yeah. It's always an individualized experience. Like I think like with Tasiyah, what she said, I think even on the days when I'm stressed or I'm going through like some like angry emotions, the gym's a great place because I'm like doing all the lifting and getting my energy out of my body. So it flows out from me. It's not cooped up.
Mhm.
But for me, it's like, yes, I do care about going for my bones and everything, but it's also like a mental kind of exercise for me because I think mentally I feel really fit when I go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like I don't need other activity, but I need mental stimulation, and the gym is like definitely one place where I'm like in my body, right? Because like to see us shared with our brother, he goes running because he overthinks, and I'm like, yeah, when I go to the gym or when I go on a walk, I'm very intentional with my body and what I'm doing. Like even if I feel like I'm drifting, I'll put something in my ear so I can focus on the music, but I'm trying to focus on something which is not in my head. It's an
Mhm.
external kind of
Mhm.
thing for me. But the last thing I wanted to ask that's like to see is because so this happened to me when I was trying to buy a present for one of my friends who was in a bigger body. It was years ago, years. And she was so resistant to it because I wanted to get her like this top. I was like, no, don't give me this, like, whatever. Don't buy any clothes for me. Like, you won't know my size. I was like, I'm pretty sure I know your size. Like, I see you every day. I have a pretty good idea that I know your size. And I went in, but right when I was trying to buy it, I did have a little bit of doubt because she said that. But eventually I landed on the correct size and then I gave it her and she took it home and she was so scared. But she tried it on and then she was like, "Oh, it fits." And I'm surprised because normally people always get me things that don't fit. So I was kind of wondering if, like, Tasia, have you had that experience? Like, how do you feel? Like, do you just want to buy your own clothes? Or are you okay with someone gifting you stuff? Like, how does that work for you?
It's hard for me to, like, do any clothes shopping because, like, I find, like, online my sizes run smaller than they are online, so I end up having to go, like, a size bigger, and in person, it's also difficult because, like, I re anytime I go shopping in person, I think about the 13-year-old girl who used to have to go to the store every year or, like, my preteen self to go find a pair of jeans that could fit. And then most of the time, my jeans were either way too long, so we had to roll up the bottom of it, or like my thighs wouldn't fit into it at all. And if I go shopping in person, it's like it's such a very delicate space and emotional space I'm in. So when people buy me clothes, most of the time I'm like, it's not gonna fit. But that's more of like my mind. And like recently, my boyfriend has been like, I want to see how you clothes shop. And it's like, why do you want to see that? Like my fears immediately come through. But it's also like I find having encouragement and like body positivity to help
Mhm.
tremendously, because then I'll go after the styles that's like a little like outside of my comfort zone, or like I'll be able to feel more confident having like another person being like, you would look so good in this. And it helps
Mhm.
tremendously. Like me and my best friend will we'll go clothes shopping, and I love that experience with her because it's such a positive experience. But if I go by myself, it's a very shameful experience. Like, I am, like, I'm naturally somebody who when I go to a store, it's like, I need to be in and out as soon as possible. But with clothes, I have to go try it on. I have to see how it fits. I have to be okay in my body. And then, like, it also depends, like, if I feel bloated that day, I'm like, "I don't wanna do this." Like, I'm not nothing's gonna fit, nothing's gonna look right. If I feel like I'm hungry, I wanna make sure I eat after I go clothes shopping. And then it's like, well, no, because then you when you fill your body with food, your stomach's gonna expand a little bit because 'cause you're full, and then it's
Yeah.
like a whole 'nother, like,
Thing to deal
Yeah.
with.
reparenting situation. So, I mean, like, it depends, like, if mom's to buy me clothes, she bought me, like, a hoodie, and I was like, "This hoodie's not gonna fit internally," and then I tried it on, and it was, like, the most comfortable hoodie, and, like, even though I did feel, like, bigger in body, it was like I changed it from it being like a body image thing to she got me this because she knew I would like it. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of like a lot of reparenting and a lot of making sure that what
Right.
I say doesn't inflict on the other person, because
Mhm.
like what you were just trying to get it out, like just something cute for your friend, and she was like, no, it's not going to fit. And so for you, when you walked into the store, you're like, okay, am I really doing, like, what if it doesn't fit her, and like what if I get the wrong size? And at the end of the day, it's like the action of you just wanting to get her something was the main point of that. It didn't matter if it didn't fit. It didn't matter if it was too big or too small. It still was like you wanted to get her that
It was coming from love.
thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
It
that
was it yeah, it was coming. But I think when she said that, like what Tasiyah said, a part of me was like, I was scared that if I didn't get the size right, because I knew she wasn't already comfortable in her body. I was like, oh my God, is this a very unintentional way of me bringing up the shame again for her. She's gonna be like,
yeah.
see, I
Mhm.
told you, like, it didn't fit. And now I'm the person who contributed to that by
Yeah.
making her feel bad about it. But luckily it fit, and she was actually very, very, very surprised. And like she was happy. I could tell she was happy that it fit her, but like I think she was shocked also, like, oh my God, someone actually got me something that fit. I've not had that problem. Maybe once. Once sometime, yeah, once I did have someone gave me something. It was a dress. Didn't fit me, but I didn't really have much of this. I was like, you know what? It doesn't fit me. I have a friend it's gonna fit, and I just gave it to her. But
Mhm.
the friend who gave it to me, she was like, oh, maybe you could just lose, a dress. What's the thing? Go down a dress size so you could lose some weight. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, thank you for the gift and thank you for the thought. But like, hello, I like food way too much. And I'm already like restricting myself enough. I'm not going to lose some weight just to fit into this dress.
That
I
was
would much
also
rather give
something.
it.
Yeah, that was
Also,
also
yeah,
something. Go ahead. I feel like I'm cutting you off.
yeah, you say, go ahead.
Um, like if I had something that didn't fit me, it was
Mm,
bless you. If it didn't fit me, it was always like, "Oh, I'll lose the weight and then I'll be able to fit into it."
Mhm.
And so it would be in, like, the back of the closet
mm,
until, like,
Mhm.
I found it again. I'm like, "Oh, does this fit me?" And then, like, sometimes it would fit, sometimes it wouldn't, and other times it was one of those moments where it's like, "Why am I trying to fit into something that's not going to fit me if at the end of the day I'm not gonna wear it?" Like, it wasn't anything where it was a negative, but it was, like, me understanding my mindset behind it was coming from, like, "Oh, I'll just accept it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work," versus now it's like I'll keep something if I'm like, "I'm gonna try to fit into this," and then we'll see if time comes. But it's kinda crazy how beforehand it was I relate to how your friend reacted
Mhm.
to it.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
when it came to clothes shopping, it's like one of the most traumatic experiences, especially when I didn't have a healthy mindset and I would shame myself. And I think as I'm hearing you talk about, you guys are talking about gifting somebody something. For Tasiyah, for example, even receiving gifts was hard. So receiving a gift that has to do with body image was even harder. And I think that it's not an easy journey at all. Like I'm glad that we're able to have the conversations, because this it takes a lot of mind work and heart work. I've had family members tell me that I'm fat and I'm ugly and I'll never find somebody to marry. From the time I was like 8 to 13 and then 16. Even when I was 20, yeah, I was 20, I had to see ya and we went to visit Guyana and somebody like, can't believe somebody married you, you're so ugly. And, it's just like all of these things. So it's like, and I was, yeah, not, that wasn't my heaviest, but I was pretty big then. So it's just kind of like, the message that I want our audience to know is that you are an individual and everything that you've been through is a reason, right? So if you're overweight and if you're in a bigger body, it doesn't mean that you're always going to be in a bigger body and you have to embrace that, but embracing you is what is going to make the difference. And once you embrace you and you are healthy overall and you have peace and wholeness within yourself, then the bigger body is just it's just there. No, there's so many people who are loving you regardless. You said your friend, you never noticed her body weight. Sam also never noticed to see a body weight. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's so funny because I look for other people to tell me, like, if I lose weight and stuff, and I'm like I'd ask her, and she's like, "I can't tell, like, I literally can't tell if you lost." She's like, "It's nothing like she just doesn't see me for my weight, she sees me for my soul." And
Mhm,
that's also how I see other people too. Like, I realize, like, I face so much people, like, shaming me, like, in school and, like, family-wise, but, like, the way I love is that I love to the heart. I love to the soul
mhm,
degree, and that's the same love that I expect from other people too.
mhm,
And I think
Yeah.
that that's also it took a while for me to get to even that. Like, if this was me 2 years ago, I would not be having this conversation.
mhm.
But now I can have this conversation because I've overcame, like,
Yeah.
that obstacle in front of me of, like, okay,
Mhm,
like, cameras and me taking pictures of myself, videos of myself. I hated the sound of my own voice until like 2, 3
mhm.
years ago. And to now be like the editor of like my podcasts now
And the
and
host, the co
and the co-host, and it's like
yeah.
it's such a cool feeling because like I literally had my own shame that was stopping me.
Yeah.
Mm,
And now if somebody has something to say, okay, like it's gonna hurt a little bit, but that's up to me to reparent. It's
mhm.
not. And it's more of a reflection on off of them at the end of the day
Right,
too.
yeah. And I want to, you mentioned the word reparent. I want to bring this to light too. I read an article a while ago, and that kind of also brought in awareness for me. And at the time I didn't even know about awareness or like, having new information to change my perspective. But it did change my perspective. I always like, I have like what we call bat wings, right? My skin. And, I remember, like, I loved my grandmother's, and I would always play with hers. So it was, like, always something that, like, I shame myself for having it, but I also, like, liked it. But when my kids were little and they would play with it or they would play with my belly 'cause, um, I used to have
I
a name for my belly,
forgot what the name of it was.
Floofy?
Floofy?
Poofy.
Poofy, it was
Yeah.
Poofy.
And it would be like dough. And so the kids would play with and before I allowed them to, I would have so much shame, like, don't touch
Mhm.
that, don't do this, don't do that." And the article said our children are not going to remember love that way. They're only gonna remember they're gonna see how you love yourself, that's how they're gonna love themselves. So a lot of the reparenting that Tasia is doing, I encourage it because those are how I shamed myself for body image and limited knowledge and my insecurities. That's what she learned. That's what she picked up. And that's not the truth. That was just coming from my insecurity. So her taking that time to reparent that, it's not saying, "Oh, mom's shit," or mom or whatever. It's acknowledging that that was a message I received and that was the time frame that it happened in, so it made sense that that's how I feel about myself and actively choosing to do it differently. So there's a lot of messages that our parents and our caregivers, our family members, people that we attach our worth to their opinions and our value to their opinions. It mattered, especially when we're young. We needed um, role models, and we needed people to show up for us with authenticity and unconditional love. But I didn't know what the hell any of that meant. All I knew was that I wasn't good enough. I was never gonna be good enough. I always had this ugh in my behavior. So that how it just showed up in how my children see themselves. And my youngest Asienne, she has a lot of fear of judgment because of me, well, not all because of me. I'm taking a little accountability, but most of that is because of how I judged myself. So if she saw how I judged myself, naturally she's gonna like, think about herself as well. So, it's just a little nod to, when it comes to
Yeah.
our bodies and who we are and how our nutrition plays a factor, how our emotional health plays a factor. It really is rooted in our childhood and how we can't just have a different mindset and change it. It's a process.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and it's a good point because the way you talk about your body is like your kids are gonna pick that up. So if you're gonna shame yourself, of course, when you grow up, you can change. Like with the Sia sees herself in a new way. But growing up, you shamed yourself because that's what you learned through the generation. But
yeah.
our kids, like the kids pick up on, whatever you say about your own body. And something I've observed is that even the people who get on social media and they say, like, how can you not do it? Like, skinny's all that and you should be skinny. I feel like they're not just shaming other people, they're just shaming themselves too.
Mhm.
Because I feel the most amount of judgment about body image that comes from people who themselves are not happy with their own body. So
Yeah.
they're trying to project that onto other people and then they're also trying to shame other people because I think by putting those messages out, they think that they're gonna like shame themselves in the health. But like I always say, you cannot shame yourself into getting healthy. You have to do it from a place of like love. You
Compassion.
can't,
Yeah.
yeah, compassion and love. You can't like do guilt and shame to get healthy because I mean, look, think of it this way. If it's so like you can't wrap your head around it, if you ever knew someone who was abusing drugs or alcohol, right? And you had an intervention with them, I don't think the first thing you'd do when you sit down with them is start telling them all the horrible things that they are doing and where they're going to end up or they're going to be dead in a ditch or something like that, right? But it's so easy in health to tell people like the narrative is like shame and guilt and now you're going to magically be healthy once I shame you into this stuff. But it doesn't
Yeah.
actually work that way. But I like the points that Lucia brought up about looking at your, like she said, I think about the strength and like, what my body can do. And I think that's a very important thing to think of, especially when you're in a bigger body. It's important to think of all the things your body is actually capable of doing because she's taking that from a place of strength, not weakness.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think you guys heard she like carried the what was it, the laundry or the
Oh my
dishwasher from
God, a dryer.
yeah, the dryer and then the car dryer. And things that Lazina and I will never be able to do unless we have help. So I just think that it's amazing that for people out there who instead of shaming yourself, just I would say write down a list of things that you actually are capable of in the body you have right now. Because I think when you look at that and you realize how grateful you are for what you can actually accomplish. I think that kind of melts away the guilt and shame that you might feel about the body size you are in at this moment. But
Yeah.
we shared a lot of like good hacks. Like I like that in this year shared gym hacks. Zena gave some insight on the inner child work and healing.
You know
Yeah,
that's where I live.
hopefully. Yeah, exactly. But before we land the plane on our episodes, I think we've pretty much come to the end. Any other thoughts, guys?
Mm,
Anything you want to say to people who are struggling with weight and body image right now?
it's a long process and it's a day by day step.
Hmm.
The person you were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, however many years ago when you started, or even if it was yesterday you started, it's not the same person you are today. And you're
Hmm.
gonna get to the goal that you want to be at. And if you need anybody as far as support, I'm always here. I'm not a fitness coach, but I am also always a heart that can listen. And I believe in you. So keep going. And you got it.
I don't want to say anything else after that. Mic drop.
Exactly. I think that that was like beautiful, and I think we all agree, and we're all here for anyone
Yeah.
whoever is struggling with issues. You can always reach out to any one of us. And we're gonna leave our handles and stuff in the show notes so you guys can just reach out. I mean, no pressure. If
Yeah.
you feel like you're struggling and you want to talk to someone, just drop us a message on our social.
Yeah.
And I think on that note, we'll be wrapping up this episode.
Yeah.
We're so happy that we got to see her on here and
Thank you.
lovely to hear her perspective, especially because she does it from a place of love and compassion and not shame. And that's what me and Laziena wanted to bring to this episode. So
Yeah.
I hope we've inspired you guys out there with our experiences. And if you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week for the next
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. And join us
Until
too if
then,
you want.
oh yeah, for sure. You can definitely join us.
Oh my
We'll
God.
leave all the information in the show notes.
Yeah.
And yeah, till then, remember you are not broken, you are just becoming.
That's right.